Yo guys, so there was something important that happened a few weeks ago.
Yo, this was hiatus, right?
Oh yeah.
Hiatus.
Yeah,
Oh,
hiatus happened a few weeks ago. That's pretty long already. But I was actually talking about Zach's new haircut.
kaya pala, dude. That's why Zach, you look so good looking, man.
I see that's more
Yeah.
eventful than the Vice President of the Philippines speaking out.
Whoa! Shout out, indeed.
Shout out to Vice President Lenny Robredo. But Zach, you're so poggy today. You're really
But
poggy.
for real though, why don't we all direct our attention to Renan with his new cap?
Hey, come on, bro. Chill.
What is up, everyone? Welcome back to the 730 podcast, a podcast created by 730 Lectures. We know we haven't seen you in a while, so we hope you're all doing well out there. As you know, my name's Zach.
My name's Renan.
My name's Emilio, and today we will be talking about the second most eventful thing that happened a few weeks ago, hiatus by 730 lectures.
You're so hung up
No.
on your haircut, I see.
Now, here's the thing. If from hiatus you guys got insight from the most learned entrepreneurs in the Philippines, well, today you guys are gonna get insights from the most learned fools in the Philippines, which is me, Zach, and Iyo.
I see that's a mild way of putting it, but do you mean you and Iyo? I'm like over here, remember, with my haircut.
Smart.
And then
Too smart for
with
us.
your cap, probably, Renan. What exactly are they gonna hear from us?
Well, I guess like we're gonna be talking about like our insights from hiatus and like the different talks and interviews you guys heard. So, what do you guys like think about hiatus? Like, what are the parts that you enjoyed the most?
I just want to say that I'm really proud of everyone, the whole 730 Lectures team. It's just me. It's just all three of us. We don't have an employee or anything.
How about our
Oh,
intern?
but intern?
Paid ones?
Oh my
Shadowing.
goodness.
Just kidding.
I don't think people realize it, but the process to create hiatus, the planning, the logistics, the operations, reaching out to people, it was actually very difficult and time consuming. And all that hard work ended up, it all paid off. And I'm really proud that we were able to, come as a team and really do our parts and have, like, in my opinion, a very successful event.
Man, we got to communicate with the vice president's office. Like Zach did all of that, man. That guy. Thank you, Zach, for that. So much respect, and honestly, so much respect for the vice president as well. And like in her video, she talked about like what their office is doing during the pandemic. Like she mentioned how they organized shuttle service, dorms for frontliners, food packs, all these different things, app-based community market that links small vendors and consumers, man. And she credited all of that effort to the private sector. And I think like
Busy man.
calling me, wait now. And like she kind of basically talked about how, since it is this institution that like holds majority of our country's wealth, so do they hold an immense amount of responsibility to contribute to nation building. And I remember listening to this like lecture a few days ago from Ateneo. It was about business ethics, and like the professor basically wanted to dissect like a false dichotomy between making money and doing business and being a good person. You feel like capitalism versus doing like searching for the common good. But he really dove deep into different ways in which people like try to incorporate those two concepts, like CSR, social enterprise. And he also talked about how simply empowering your employees with decision-making power really contributes also to like nation building, because it really forms the character of like individual citizens. So honestly, VP Lenny's speech was like really good reminder for entrepreneurs. Like they have a great responsibility and like to contribute to nation building and to seek the common good, despite that condition to like make money.
Now that Iyo hyped up the talk so much, link in the description for the talk. But
Yes,
aside from the fact of how much it made an impact on you, Iyo, I see all our talks as one that is very timely, and not just because of the COVID pandemic, but I guess in this age of information and tech and especially as college students, how we're slowly getting into business and entrepreneurship. And even for some of the already entrepreneurs out there, like Ken Dale with Basque Hot
Nikki.
Sauce, and yeah, with Hypergleam Cosmetics, right?
Yeah.
And these are just a few of the very many, perhaps hundreds and thousands of college entrepreneurs out there in the world. And yeah, it's really impressive and inspiring to see what we can do today with technology. And yeah, it's I think personally, and I hope it's your guys' hopes too, that we would really see more, right? Because as they say, our generation is the hope of the future. Yeah.
What did you guys think of former Senator Bam Aquino's talk? Did you guys
Yo,
enjoy
yo, his
that?
Mavericks lost, dude. In all seriousness, though, um, I was really appreciative of the fact, like you touched on it just a bit about the false dichotomy between doing business and creating value and good for people. You know, that's a big misconception that they're mutually exclusive. But the thing is, and the hard truth is, like you can definitely reconcile both of these things and create a positive impact on society, not just on a business level, but on uh other dimensions of the world, like socially, like you can tackle health and stuff. And so it just really illuminated on to me that, oh, if I really want to pursue business, I need to take responsibility for my actions so that I can do good for society as well, since it's definitely reconcilable. And I hope that this sparks this feeling of mine is sparked also in a lot of young entrepreneurs and, the already established entrepreneurs.
Yeah, that certainly gives you something to think about, right? And I mean, I forgot to mention, most especially, two of our college entrepreneurs that spoke in the event, namely John Young and Audrey Pe. Like, it shows how the internet economy has drove them to pursue something of their passions, right? And I guess it's simply very powerful to do so, and it even inspires me to do something more with my skills, knowledge, and experience in tech, right?
I guess another thing I appreciated about the talks, for instance, like I really loved Renan's interview with Tito Bam. It was really solid. Honestly, Renan asked really great questions. He talked about ME and how he applied ME in public service, because I'm sure a lot of people have been wondering about how someone who graduated from a business course could end up in public service, could end up
Shout
in
out all you Excel and Python people out there.
So yeah, I guess he mentioned how he drew from many disciplines. Kasi like for instance with ME, he drew from the discipline of the course. Like it's super rigorous, so obviously he'd have a lot of discipline. But also he also learned a lot of like focus from ME. Like I think he talked about how you really need to be objective when you like create policies and laws and stuff in the Senate. And it was really an ME when he learned that discipline to narrow down, to be objective, to be nuanced, to really have a focus and to really identify what your problem is so you can find a proper solution for that. And that involves a lot of learning about all these intricacies in business, economics, creating value, distributing wealth. And all of that made him understand what he ought to do in terms of alleviating poverty, which is his advocacy. And aside from that, he also like used Sangu because he was the president of the student council, like, to bring him out of his bubble. It really exposed him to the political and social realities and it further impacted this advocacy to uplift the poor through entrepreneurship. And honestly, I really look up to him for that. And like one day, it's a dream of mine to be like Tito Bam and to be like my grandfather as well.
Yes, respect.
To use business to empower other people, to empower the economically downtrodden, by teaching them how to, manage people, market, create value, do all these, technical, personal, interpersonal skills to create value for themselves.
Hashtag halalan 20 something something.
I'm gonna sponsor EOS.
Building from what you said though, like I mean shifting from a less political side slightly, we can analyze all our talks on several different levels, right? They each had something to bring to the table or something to bring to Hiatus and something that each of us as college students can learn individually and apply it into our lives. So how about Renan, why don't you give us a short summary on your talk with Bo's Coffee CEO Steve Benitez too, because I think he had
Yeah.
a lot of things to talk about, right? Especially shifting from a brick and mortar store to an online
Yeah.
Yeah.
operations.
I think one of the things he mentioned was the fact that the internet economy is becoming a real thing. And so in the talk, he said that even before COVID, he already implemented more online presence for Bose Coffee. And that just got me really thinking that to be an effective business leader, you need to have the foresight to really think about solutions that don't really exist right now, but could exist in the future. And so it just taught me that if I want to be successful like him, I need to have like an objective and long-term perspective on things that I'll do so that I prime myself for success. And I think, this can be applied to lots of other people. And it doesn't have to stand for just business. You can do it in any career. It's just a really important trait that I think a lot can learn from.
Yeah.
Don't forget to get a mentor also, guys.
That's facts.
Good stuff.
Yeah,
Good
they
stuff.
said though, like the best solution comes from thinking ahead, perhaps 5 to 10 years in advance, and building a solution for that future problem, right? Also, like building from what you said, Renan, a lot of companies prior to COVID had wanted to switch to online operations. Perhaps it be work from home or perhaps modernize their marketing strategies. I guess COVID gave them time to be able to rethink it and be able to implement things that they want to do but haven't done, right?
So far, a lot of businesses have been adjusting, right?
Yeah, it's really about thinking ahead, I think.
Guys, I remember this one more quote from Audrey Best's interview. She asked herself, no, like before starting WeTech, like she was thinking about the gender disparity in the tech industry. She was like, why don't we host an event geared toward promoting inclusivity in technology? And then she followed that with, because, people think we have to wait for the adults to end up doing that, but why do we have to wait for the adults to do that? And honestly, this is the same question that challenged my assumptions a few years ago. And I honestly thought that adults somewhat would get it. Like, you get what I mean? Like, I thought they'd be like mature and become better people. Now, I'm sure there are a lot naman that have, reached that level of maturity. Like my parents, for instance, I really think they have. And, our guests, Vice President Lenny, Tito Bam, Tito Steve, Tito Nina, I'm sure they've all like reached the level of moral, maturity and all that. But age doesn't define that. And honestly, I remember this quote from Steve Jobs, my favorite entrepreneur.
Wow.
Yeah, when you grow up, you tend to get told the world is the way it is. Your role is to like live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much. But that's a very limited life, and your life could be broader once you discover the simple fact that everything around you that you call life was made by people who are no smarter than you. And you can change it, you can influence it. So when I listened to Audrey Pe and John Young talk about their ventures, I remembered that quote. And honestly, I really look up to them. Like John Young, imagine he got Justin Mateen, the co-founder of Tinder, to give them pre-seed funding for Avion. Man, that's like he's a college student starting a school, man. So like, wow, you were really never too young to try to touch the lives of others with your passion.
Yeah. It all starts with a single idea, perhaps based on your current passions, maybe, and your past experiences. That's what would bring something to the table, bring something to your brain of yours, and hopefully you'll be able to put it into action. I mean, just like us guys.
Yes,
We're doing our part in making a dent in the world. So it is what it is.
Mandatory quarantine brought about by the COVID situation has brought us all back together to create 730 lectures. Don't be sentimental, guys. We hope to all our audience out there, we hope as usual you're enjoying our content, and we've got a lot more things in store for you this coming weeks. So we hope you stay tuned.